If you or someone you love has been impacted by pornography, you may have found yourself wondering, why is it so hard to stop? Or even, why does this feel so powerful? To understand the answer to those questions, we need to start with the brain. Our brains are beautifully designed to experience pleasure and connection. One of the key chemicals involved is dopamine. Dopamine focuses our attention, helps us feel pleasure, and remembers what feels good. That can be a meaningful conversation, a walk outside, intimacy with someone we love, or even one of our favorite meals. But pornography overstimulates the system. In response to the superstimulus of porn, the brain releases higher levels of dopamine and other neurochemicals, and can keep those levels elevated for long periods. However, over time, the brain gets used to that amount of dopamine and needs more variety to get a similar dopamine high. This is similar to the pattern of substance disorders. Over time, everyday life starts to feel unfulfilling. Things that once brought joy, connection, beauty, and even rest may not feel the same. That's because the brain has been trained to expect a higher level of stimulation. Research shows heavy porn use is linked to changes in the brain, particularly in areas responsible for decision-making, focus, and emotional regulation. In one study, researchers found reduced gray matter and weaker connection among brain regions that help us make rational, future-oriented choices. This can make it harder to pause, reflect on consequences, and choose differently. But the impact doesn't stop with the brain. It also shapes how we experience connection and intimacy. There's a phrase often used in neuroscience: neurons that fire together, wire together. What that means is over time, our brains link arousal with whatever we repeatedly experience alongside it. What a person chooses to watch changes what arouses them, making it extremely difficult to be satisfied within real intimate relationships. Pornography trains the brain to bond not with a real person in a safe, mutually respectful relationship, but with images on a screen and often unrealistic or even harmful depictions of sex. This can quietly reshape sexual expectations. Instead of feeling personal and relational connection, it can begin to feel performance-based. Instead of sex being about intimacy and closeness, it can become about the thrill or escape. And that can deeply affect relationships. Studies show increased pornography use is linked to lower relationship satisfaction, decreased commitment, and a higher likelihood of emotional and physical disconnection. For many betrayed spouses, the impact is especially personal. Discovering a partner's pornography use can feel deeply wounding. Many describe it as a form of betrayal trauma, shattering their sense of safety, self-worth, and trust. It's not just a habit. It reaches far deeper, disrupting the one flesh unity God intended marital intimacy to reflect. And beyond relationships, pornography also shapes beliefs. Over time, it can normalize sexual violence, distort views of bodies and relationships, and diminish faith in church attendance. It can also increase comparison, dissatisfaction, and unrealistic expectations for both men and women. So when we step back and look at the full picture, pornography doesn't just affect behavior. It impacts the brain, the heart, relationships, and even the way we see ourselves and others. But there's good news. There is hope. The brain is capable of change, and healing is possible. In my own recovery from pornography, I remember I would tightly hold on to Luke 18:27. Jesus replied, "What is impossible with man is possible with God." Many men and women have found freedom, not through shame or pressure, but through honesty, support, taking intentional steps toward healing, and standing on the hope of God's Word. If this is part of your story or someone you love, you're not alone. And this doesn't have to be the end of the story. Freedom from porn doesn't come all at once. It begins with understanding what's happening in your body and in your heart. And healing deepens each time you choose what is better. A life that is deeply fulfilling, lasting, and aligned with God's blessing.